and welcome to my channel. This video is going to talk about using the golden dose on your weight loss pens. As I make my own personal journey over to Wegovy and say goodbye to Mounjaro, I am mindful that there are going to be people just starting out on their Mounjaro journey or continuing. This video is about using the golden dose and how you can do it safely. After ordering Wegovy online, I had an email a couple of days later that gave guidelines on how to use it safely. And part of that was the section about not using the golden dose. And it just really annoyed me because these companies are making so much money anyway out of people. They've increased their prices. So why not use the rest of the medication that is left in your pen? I read the little information that they gave about that, and all they said really was don't use it. It's supposed to be to prep your pen every time you take a jab, and it didn't really explain what the problem was in using it. So I did a little bit of research. I've looked up loads of different sites and information, and really all that was being said was this repeated information that the medication that is left in your pen might not be a 0.6 ml dose. What they're saying then is that if you are taking 0.5 mils, then you're not getting your full dosage. So if you're on 5 milligrams and you're only taking 0.5 instead of 0.6, then you're not going to get your 5 milligram hit. All they really say then is that it could affect your weight loss, or it could affect your progress. And I just think that that's up to me, really. I would prefer to have a 0.5 hit for a week, especially if that means that I can make things cheaper and more affordable for myself. Then I think I would take that hit on my progress. And it just really annoyed me. It does go the other way as well. So if you've got more than your normal standard dose, then you could be taking too high of a dose. And this could be before your provider has agreed that you're allowed to make a step up. It is very high risk to take a dose which is too high, because your chances of having the severe side effects are much more likely, and you're at a higher risk of having the physical complications such as, your thyroids and your glands and things like that. So I 100% get what they're saying either way. They don't want your progress to be hindered, and they also don't want you at risk of having significant side effects and anything going wrong physically. I just think it's really unfair of these companies not to explain how to use it safely. I think they need to be taken into account that this medication is very expensive. People are going to be doing it anyway. So the best advice they could give is how to do that safely. Essentially, in each pen, they're giving you 0.6 mils extra fluid. That works out to 0.15, is that right? For every jab for you to prime your pen. I don't know about you, but it doesn't take 0.15 of fluid every single time you prime your pen. It just doesn't. You tap your pen, you make sure that the fluid comes out at the top, and that's all they really tell you to do. They don't say that you've got to use 0.15 each time to prime your pen. They say as long as fluid comes to the top of the pen, it's ready to work. And if they wanted to be that specific, then they should be telling you exactly how many clicks it takes for you to get to that 0.15, and then tell you to use it all. Anyway, going by the guidelines, really all these companies are saying is that if you can ensure that you've got a 0.6 dose, which would ensure that your dose remains at the correct dose, then you can use it, because technically they're just saying the opposite. So if you can't make sure that it's 0.6, don't use it. What they're not saying, if there is 0.6 left, then it should be okay to use because it is still the correct dose. Companies are saying that if you extract the fluids, they can't guarantee that you are going to be doing it safely and all your equipment will be sterile. And that's fair enough. No company wants any lawsuits against infections or any sort of bacteria getting into the body. I get that. However, they provide needles, but it's up to you how you use those needles. You could be opening those needles and leaving it on your pen all week. You could be reusing your needles. You may not be cleaning the area before you inject. So really, they can't guarantee that what they're providing is going to be safe and sterile anyway. I just think companies need to be more relatable to their consumers, realise that people are going to be extracting this last bit of fluid to use. It's just common sense. Anyone would want to do the same because it's saving money. And obviously in our current circumstances with everything on the rise, it just makes sense to do that. I think they've got a duty to their consumers to explain how to do it safely if you are going to do it. So I just wanted to let you know what I've been doing, which I think is the most safest option to be able to use the golden dose. And for the purpose of showing you, I've got a old pen. This isn't Monjaro, this is just an old pen that a friend has given me. It needs to go in the bin. I'm not going to use this. I'm just going to show you for the purpose of extracting the fluid. So if we can imagine that this is a Monjaro pen, what I've done is I've bought 1mm needles from Amazon. They come individually wrapped, so they're individually sealed. And what I do is I open them up when I'm ready to use the golden dose. The needle comes and it's completely covered on both sides. So you've got protection on the plunger and you've also got protection for the needle. So what I do then is I take the cover off the needle and take it off the bottom. I turn my Monjaro pen upside down. I put the needle into the pen like so, and then I just extract. I do ensure that I take slightly more than 0.6. So here's 0.7. So that gives me a little bit to prime this needle, and then that's ready to be injected. What you may notice is that the needle may be slightly longer than your Monjaro needle. So what I tend to do is just not put the whole length into my stomach. I just maybe put about 3/4. So basically, all companies are really asking is that you're ensuring that if you're going to extract, then it needs to be sterile. So your best bet is using individually wrapped needles. You open them at the time of use. You store them safely. Only use the needle once. These 1mm pens have got the needle attached. To use it, you put the lid back on and discard in your sharps box, which Monjaro provided for you. So as long as you're putting it in the sharps box with the lid back on, then you have done it safely. It's safe practice to make sure that you wash your hands before and after, and also to use some alcohol wipes to be able to prep the area. However, Monjaro don't provide those, so essentially they're not too worried about using alcohol wipes, otherwise they would provide them. And that's it. And then you can use your golden dose. You know that you've had your 5 milligrams or whatever milligram dose that your pen is, and save yourself a week's worth of money. I am now going to throw this in the bin. I've never used this. I don't know what it is. Oh, it's Saxenda. I think my friend was on it for a while. This is out of date. It's going straight in the bin. Also throw my pen into my sharps bin. And there you have it, guys. I hope that you're on the same wavelength as me, a little bit annoyed that these companies aren't providing safe usage guidance on the golden dose. Obviously, it's up to you whether you want to continue to listen to the guidelines of your providers or use the golden dose. This video is purely for personal information purposes, so I could show you how I use the golden dose. Please be safe out there. follow guidelines, follow instructions, and if you are going to use the golden dose, then make sure you do it safely and sterile. If you like my content, please think about subscribing. Soon you'll be able to follow my Wegovy journey. It's being delivered on Saturday, so I plan to start next week. Good luck with your weight loss. Let's try and save some money in the process. Good luck on your weight loss journeys, and I will see you in the next one. Take it easy, guys. Bye.